Just make sure that the stream is working. Bear with, people. Bear with. I just sort out everything. It is hectic right now. It is genuinely hectic. I hope you can hear me all right. I think it should be coming out fine. What is FPL, eh? What is FPL? It is a crazy, crazy game we play. I'll just make sure the sound is coming out all right. Looks like it's all right. Looks like it's all right. Yep, we're good. We're good. Feel free to pop any messages you've got in the chat, of course. Ask me any questions you've got. I've got a lot to get through, and we've got just over an hour and a half to the deadline. So, hello everyone. Hope we're all well. It is absolutely hectic FPL at the moment. I thought it couldn't get any more hectic last game week. Had a double game week 24, but guess what? I was proven wrong. To be fair, this week is not so much hectic about sort of double game weeks because we did get a double game week announcement for game week 32. Newcastle and Crystal Palace will double in 32 rather than 33. And that doesn't really change much when it comes to this double game week 25. But what it does mean is that it's still pretty hectic because the injury news is a bit all over the place. And I'll get on my team to kind of prove why I'm saying that. So, yeah, as I said, let me know if you've got any questions before deadline. Feel free to fire them at me. This is a crazy, crazy game week we've got right here. I hope I can actually see people's comments. I'm pretty sure I set it up to show them, so I should be able to get them if and when they do come through. If not, I could always check again on the YouTube stream. But yeah, like I said, thanks for those that have joined. Hope you're well and hope you're excited for double game week 25. I don't know if excitement is the right word for me, to be honest. I am just completely pooing it at this point. But we will see. We will see what happens. Is Cody Gakpo going to be fine for this game week? Is Watkins going to be fine for this game week? So much up in the air in this double. And so, yeah, did not see that double game week 32 announcement coming at all. I don't think many people did. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'll just check the YouTube chat to make sure we've not had any questions. No, so far so good, I think. So yeah, feel free to let me know any last minute questions you've got. But let me show you my team. Let me show you where we are as it stands. Before we do get into it, make sure to smash a like on the live stream. I don't do many of these. I can only kind of do them when I've got the time. And I thought, well, today I've got the time. So, and it feels quite a big game week, pretty hectic FPL at the moment. So I thought I'd cover it off with some potential help for you guys. But yeah, do show the channel some love. I really appreciate the subscribers we've been getting recently. But I've got to start by saying what a fantastic FPL Have a Beer with Gary. What a lovely guy. He came on the Former's Temporary Pod's latest episode ahead of Double Game Week 25. And if you haven't listened to that already, make sure you do with the time we've got left before deadline at 6:30, because it was a really, really fun pod. Some great tips there about future planning. Obviously now with the Palace double and the Newcastle double in 32, that looks like a prime triple captaincy Isak week. But basically, we could be at a stage where our chip strategy turns into triple captain 32, wildcard 31. I mean, it's insane. It is insane. Like, we could be looking at back-to-back kind of chips being played. So yeah, it's crazy. I'm not going to lie. It's not going to be an easy end to the season. A lot of hectic chip playing, but we'll see how it goes. Let's get my team up because I've got to sort out my transfers. I still haven't made all the transfers I want to at the moment. So let me just quickly get my team up for you on stream. But yeah, as I said, any support for this video and for the channel is always appreciated. make sure to retweet. I sent out a tweet just a few minutes ago for the stream. So if you're watching, if you could retweet that, I'd really appreciate that. But yeah, let's try and talk through Game Week 25, shall we? So obviously, I did quite well in Game Week 24. Pretty pleased with how I did, to be honest. It was a tricky game week, most of it, to be honest. It was there were parts of it that were really good, parts of it that were annoying. Of course, one of those being Trent not playing the second game against Everton. But the thing that was brilliant was, of course, Mr. David Moyes. So assistant manager played on David Moyes and he beat the slot owners. It's absolutely beautiful stuff. So yeah, buzzing with that. It has to be said. Absolutely buzzing with that. And so I got 130 points in game week 24. Lovely little green arrow there, up to 182k. So that's 4 green arrows in a row for us. So I've got to say, at this point in the season when it counts the most, we are getting that momentum. So it's fantastic to see. So yeah, we assistant manager activated on David Moyes, 22 points. That Tarkowski late equaliser. I was watching the FPL Black Box stream, and oh my gosh, the drama! It was unbelievable. And Tarkowski, I absolutely love you. So massive thanks to him. Henderson with the 6-pointer for me, so he's been great. Got the clean sheet against Man United. The back three, mixed success. I should say mostly bad. Hall with 1. Trent obviously got the clean sheet in the first game against Bournemouth, but then subbed early in the Bournemouth game, and then didn't make that starting 11 for Everton. But it is what it is. At least he's gonna play double game week 25 now, so that's a positive. But Liverpool triple up is a bit of a headache at the moment, and this is what we'll get to. Gabriel 2, they conceded against Man City, much as everyone expected them to. I was just hoping for a Gabriel bullet header, but it never came. But that's all right. We don't mind too much. The other thing I was going to say was Gordon. Anthony Gordon, 1-pointer, painful stuff. So Hall got a 1, so did Gordon. Newcastle let me down against Fulham, and Gordon got himself booked, which was not ideal. And then, of course, in the lead up to game week 25, he's got himself a yellow flag now. So it's interesting, that is, because I'm just going to check the stream I'll just give it a little share to the stream on another device. Yeah, the Gordon sort of situation heading into the deadline tonight, I was thinking, right, this is perfect. As well as the fact Gordon's been a little bit underwhelming, it's all good because Gordon is potentially flagged. Obviously, we know Newcastle blank in game week 29. They won't play Palace that week. Instead, they'll play in double game week 32. And so it made a lot of sense to get Gordon out. A logical move. And so all of this week, I've been thinking, I want a Bournemouth mid. I want myself a Bournemouth mid. And so then it's been the drama, basically, with Andy Martin, the legend that is Andy Martin, debating of what to do with that. And basically, it looked like I was going to go Cliver. And then for a while, I thought, the differential in me loves to chase the upside. And so let's just go for Dango. But I'm thought about it more and more. And I just think you just can't ignore a bit of Justin Cliver, because at the end of the day, he's got so many routes to points. It's insane. And yeah, it's hard to kind of ignore those Bournemouth midfielders. Despite Villa having the double game week, despite Liverpool having the double, I just think you need a Bournemouth mid this week. Now, this is my problem now. As I was saying earlier, Gordon getting flagged was kind of a nice thing for me, because I thought, well, great, I can now justify selling Gordon. But now it's looking like Eddie Howe at least has said, now this is the next question, do you trust Eddie Howe? But he said Gordon should be fine. Those were his words. So, well, what does that mean? It means he's not a bad option, because Man City's still a good fixture, of course. But I was thinking about selling Gordon even before he got that flag. So it was more of a long-term strategy with a free hit potentially not going to be played by me in 29. I want to be getting rid of my players and then that are blanking in 29. So it makes logical sense. I really want a Bournemouth mid this week with that Southampton fixture. And Cliver is the one for me. So I'm thinking I'll make that transfer. The issue I've got with it is, here it is, right? So as I was saying, this was my game week 24, Salah captaincy. it was on triple captain, but I changed to Moyes because I thought you got to go for 5 fixtures in 3 weeks. Now, ironically, there's been this double game week 32 announcement, which means that if you had activated your assistant manager in 31, you can get the back-to-back doubles in 32 and 33. But the problem with that is, of course, 33 is probably going to be still the biggest double, and that's the week where you're thinking free bench boost makes the most sense. So basically, there's too many chips and too little time for a lot of people. But I'm glad I did play it on Assman because, yeah, to get Moyes was amazing, and I can now make another transfer for that manager this week. And that is one of the transfers I have locked in. So we'll get to that in a second. But obviously, yeah, it was still nice to captain Salah, even if I didn't triple captain. But it was such a relief that, yeah, in the end, he didn't have a massive haul. He obviously got the second goal, but not a massive haul to kind of get past sort of Andy Martin numbers of 90 points on a triple captain. He ended up on 87, which is still amazing. But I'm kind of hoping that Isak maybe or another option in a double was going to outscore Salah. But Palmer still got a return, got the assist in that, was it West Ham game for Chelsea? Honestly, it feels so long ago now. The longest double game week ever. And so I decided that, yeah, I a lot of people have been moving out Palmer. I couldn't understand it. But I've kept him and he's going to stay there for foreseeable. But obviously, now that there's this whole thing around, well, we'll have the double in 32. A lot of people will wildcard and people will want Haaland for 29 in that sort of blank game week. To get to Haaland for 29 and 30, where we're going to want him, you're going to have to sell either Salah or Palmer. And I don't want to be selling Salah, not at this rate. So I think Palmer's going to have to be the make way in it, probably 29 when he's got Arsenal. Now, could he score against Arsenal? Sure. But I just think it's probably worth switching a few options around there. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking at the moment. Potentially moving on Cole Palmer. But yeah, that's a bit disappointing how, Palmer's not been hauling a lot recently. But let's not forget tonight, he plays the team he scored 4 goals against in the reverse fixture. So let's not panic with Palmer, especially with Southampton and Leicester coming up. But obviously with Jackson out injured now, that's a bit of a problem for Chelsea. So a lot is going on at the moment. A lot is going on. Rodgers, 3 1-pointers in a row. He's been so frustrating. He's been great outside of the Premier League games, and now he's got this double. So I think he's a good buy. I still don't think he's essential because he's on 8 yellow cards, but I'm happy to still have him for this double. I think he's the best Villa asset you can have in the double, to be honest. He'll start both games. Will he get subbed early? Potentially, but we'll have to see. We'll wait and see because Villa have got a lot of games coming up, so a lot of rotation. I think they've got something like 5 games in 14 days or something insane. So, yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot. But I imagine Rodgers is a good vice captaincy pick for this week. We'll see. The rest of the front three, though, Wood scored the hat-trick against Brighton, which was beautiful. To all those doubters that sold him, absolutely insanity. But, yeah, it has to be said, Chris Wood is the GOAT at this point, and I absolutely love the fella. And, yeah, so he's going absolutely nowhere for me. And then Gakpo got an assist in the Bournemouth game. At least he got something. But then, of course, he blanks in the Everton game and hobbles off with an injury. And now it's a bit of a spanner in the works because my transfer plan originally was going to be this week, nice and simple. I'll do Gordon. Sorry, I'm just going to triple check the sound's still working. Yeah, sound is still all good. I'll do Gordon to Clivert. That was my proposed move I thought about. And then I would just basically do manager transfer, take out David Moyes after he did so well for me, because you got to chase the upside. And then I had, before this game, week 25, I've had 3 free transfers. So I was going to roll the 3rd transfer to then give me 2 free transfers for game week 26. But people, this is FPL. Things change quickly. And because of Gakpo's injury problem. So Slot had a press conference obviously today, and in the press conference, Slot's words were, it's a little bit of a doubt. Now, little bit of a doubt is not he's ruled out, right? So that's good, positive from that perspective. But the big but is he wasn't in any of the Liverpool training that Sky Sports News reported. So it's not looking good, Brev, when it comes to the Wolves game. It's not looking good. And this is what is so frustrating about this game at the moment, because it feels like we're preparing and we're planning and we're doing so well. And then these things just ruin it, where we've got triple Liverpool locked in. And, ahead of double game at 24, we had a nice triple up. And yet Trent doesn't play that second game, gets injured in the Bournemouth game. It's just a really unlucky, sequence of events where, you got 3 doubling players and it turns to 2 doublers. And the same thing's going to happen now, I think, because if I keep Gakpo, which I've seen some people think about doing, some people are selling. It's just, if I sell Gakpo, I just know he's going to score hatfuls against Villa, because surely he'll be fine by the Aston Villa game, right? So it's like, is it really worth taking out, let's not forget, one of the best attackers in the league for one of the best, teams in the league, and a Villa side that have got so many defensive injuries? Are you going to really take out Gakpo just because he's got 1 game compared to 2, which he had previously? Now, I didn't understand those managers that had Gakpo and Trent last week and swapped them, selling them ahead of 24 to get slot in. I didn't understand it, because as someone who likes to chase the upside, I always thought David Moyes was the play, and it certainly was with how he did and he performed, because you get that table bonus. Even with a draw for David Moyes, it's more points than a win for slot. So I just couldn't understand those people selling Trent and Gakpo. But obviously, this week's different, right? We didn't know about Trent's injury halfway through double game at 24. We now know about Gakpo's injury. But as I said, the temptation is still there to keep Gakpo, because he could just do enough in that 1 Villa game. Now, obviously, you'd prefer him to have the Wolves game because that's the better fixture, but it's not looking likely he'll start the game this Sunday. So what does that mean? Well, it means a few things. As I said, I really wanted to do Gordon to Clivert this week. But as I've also said now, according to Eddie Howe, Gordon is going to be fine. Should be fine, or at least. So the chances are I'll be selling a fit player in Gordon for Clivert, who, as I said earlier, is going to be available for Bournemouth after he had his child born. Absolutely amazing stuff on Twitter. Like, this is why we love FPL. The fact that we see screenshots. I think it's a Reddit. No, it's not Reddit. It's TikTok. A TikTok comment on the TikTok post from Justin Clivert's fiance after giving birth or something like that. And in the comments, some people's priorities. It's insanity. This guy's just turned a father for the first time. And we're so addicted to this game that we're like basically quizzing him like journalists, saying, sorry, forget celebrating the fact you've become a father. We need to know, do you play in double game at 25? So, like, it's insane. So I don't know who it was. I think someone commented on the TikTok post from his fiance, Shanna, saying basically, we really want to know, are you going to be playing in our FPL teams this week? And then I think there was a few comments that went through, and I thought, oh, there's just an absolute no chance. And then Justin Clivert responds saying, I will be there. Like, it feels like the meme, we will be there at this point. Like, this is insane. This makes me want to bring in Clivert even more. The guy has just had his child born, and yet he's like, don't worry, FPL managers, I got this. Like, it's just incredible. So what a legend. I do just think Clivert over Gakpo, sort of the swing of that could be nice. Evening FPL Maggot, great to see you. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. Make sure to retweet the stream. I've tweeted it out. I really would appreciate those that jump into the stream. Yeah, I was just saying it's a bit of a nightmare, because I was just going to do Gordon to Clivert. Now I'm not sure about Gakpo. Is Gakpo to Watkins even worth it? This is our problem now, because the update from Slot about Gakpo was, as I said, a little doubt. So we think he probably will play only the Villa game. So is it worth taking him out? Well, the question is, are you going to swap Gakpo to Watkins? Because Watkins is also not 100% fit. We obviously knew that from not playing in the FA Cup against Spurs. But the thing about Watkins is, it's been a positive comment from Emery saying, I think it was him and Mings, that apparently they are available to be in the squad, right? That doesn't mean Watkins starts the Ipswich game. And then it's Liverpool. Now, yes, granted, Watkins is a good, high upside pick, and he could do something against Liverpool. But could we be in the same boat as Gakpo, where Watkins only plays the Liverpool game because he thinks, you know what, we can beat Ipswich, Emery. we can beat Ipswich without Watkins. We've just signed Rashford. We've just signed Marlon, who can play instead of Watkins up front. Like, I don't think it's a game they have to risk Watkins in. So this is why I'm thinking, is the Gakpo to Watkins transfer even worth it? It could just be nothing, really worth it, much of muchness, and you've used up a transfer to take out Gakpo, who's still one of the best forwards in the game, and he could do, just as well, if not better, in the same fixture against Villa. So it's a pain. It's a real, real pain. But, the deadline is 6:30, so we've got just over an hour till deadline, and I need to make some transfers because it's getting desperate stuff. Let me know, FPL Maggot, and anyone else that's in the chat. If you've got any FPL questions, I'll be happy to answer them before deadline. So yeah, this is where we're at basically. This is the squad we're currently with. Moisey, you have been a legend, but it's time to go for some potential table bonus for a certain Mr. Who is it? You guessed it. Oh yeah, baby. Good evening, everybody. It is Unai Emery. He's back in the FPL team. I say back. He's never been there. But my point is, he's where you want him to be, sat next to the substitutes on that bench. Come on, Unai. I do think that is a logical play because they should score enough goals in the Ipswich game, even if they do concede, which I think is a very high probability. The amount of injuries is just insane at this point. And Ipswich, they're not a team that, goal shy. They can score through the likes of Delap. So I don't think Villa keep a clean sheet. And then you're just targeting the goals bonus for Emery against Ipswich and hoping that even if Watkins is unfit to play that game, they should still stick a few past Ipswich for that kind of manager's points. Clean sheet would be nice, but obviously the win is what we're looking for there. And I do expect Villa to win. The Liverpool game is the tougher one, though. But what we've got to remember about Liverpool is they've just come off the back of dropping points to Everton, losing to Plymouth. Now, I know Liverpool have been a joke this season, and I know that usually they've been very solid defensively, but they didn't defend well that goal, did they? That Tarkowski equaliser. And I just think maybe Slot's getting a little bit rattled. Obviously, he got sent off in the last game. Yes, it didn't affect your slot pick if you went for him. The fact that people even think that is hilarious because obviously this is not really an assistant manager chip. It's an assistant team pick, really. You're picking teams and it's about outcomes of how well they do with clean sheets, wins, goals, etc. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think Liverpool could let something slip. Whether that is a draw against Aston Villa, I'm not sure. If it's a win, then the upside of this chip is just insane. Like, it is actually crazy how much you can gain from this chip. Sorry, just bear with a sec, people. Right, we're back. Sorry about that. Just had to make sure my laptop was charged. Yeah, as I was saying, the kind of upside of this chip is just an absolute joke. It is absolutely ridiculous. So I just think chase the upside, go for Unai. He's come in for Moisey. And so the thing I'm struggling a little bit with is knowing what to do with the attackers because, as I said, Gakpo's a problem. So at the moment, this is how I'm lining up for 25. I've got Henderson in goal, home to Everton. Pretty happy about that. I know Everton just played really well, but Palace defensively been really, really good. And this is the sort of game away from home, especially now with Njai out injured for Everton. I think there's a good chance for clean sheet for Palace there. And away from home, generally, Palace, you'd think they'd get a clean sheet there because Everton defense, is still strong, but they're weaker away from home defensively. So potential goals for Palace and the likes of Eze and Sarr, who are all kind of recovered from their potential kind of unavailabilities. But also defensively for Palace, it looks good because Everton, from an offensive point of view, away from home, have been pretty poor. So I think Palace, hopefully a clean sheet there. The back three, Timber, Gabriel, Trent. Now, Ewan Timber, I've been so patient with him. He's been my little differential defender. I've just kept on my bench, in the tough fixtures, thinking, right, when these fixtures turn in 25, we will be there for those clean sheet points. But the problem is with Arsenal, I'm really struggling. I'm really struggling with Arsenal defense because Unai Emery, is a great manager, but Villa won't keep clean sheets. So you're looking at where the clean sheet's going to come this week. They're not going to come for Villa defenders. You can't get to Liverpool defenders because Trent is the only one you can really go for. I think I did pick out Robertson on the former Temporary episode, but now I actually regret that because I think because there could be a game for Tsimikas in the Villa game. One of the two games could get shared. And so where are you looking for the clean sheets? You are going back to the obvious answer of Arsenal, right? But Arsenal at the moment, they've got potentially Ben White back. So what does that mean for Timber in terms of minutes? I'm not sure. I think Timber's going to start this game, but for long term, it's a bit of a pain. It's a bit of a pain at the moment because Lewis Skelly's been in great form, and I just don't know if he would get dropped to facilitate, Timber playing at left back. So I'd love to say Timber will start. I think he will, but I've got to start him away to Leicester. Then obviously Gabriel, good chance of a set piece goal. That looks great. And then, of course, Trent in defense with the double looks good. So the defense, I'm not worried about, okay? Other than maybe Timber, but I think he'll play. The midfield is where we've got some issues. So before I do talk about my midfield, I'll just answer a few questions that we've had in the chat. Thanks for commenting, everyone. We've had one from Zach. Hi, mate. Really on the fence whether or not to play my managership with Emery. Triple captain last week. What do you think? Interesting one, Zach. Very interesting. I think this is hard now because we've got the information about game week 32 with the double for Palace and Newcastle. Assistant manager could be played in 32, but I don't know if you'd want to do it then because it looked a great week. If you've already, in your case, you've already used triple captain, so maybe assistant manager on a Newcastle player. On Eddie Howe, I should say. But the thing is, they'll have Man United and Palace in that week. So I don't think they'll get the bonus. So it's what sort of manager you want to be. Do you want to be safe? If so, maybe that could be an assistant manager opportunity. But you could also wait to use assistant manager later on in the season, right? Because right now, I think there are some opportunities. We could see a double in 36. It's not out of the question. And so if you saved it, say, to 35, 36, 37, then you could target one of the teams that are kind of on the beach and haven't got much to play for. But the problem with that is, of course, is that by then we might not have any more doubles. So if you want to get a double out of the assistant managership, I would definitely be playing it now because at least we know what we know, right? What I would have said is if you hadn't have used assistant manager last week, Zach, and instead you'd have done triple captain. Sorry, if you hadn't have done triple captain last week and you'd have instead not played a chip, I'd have said 100% triple captain Mo this week. But obviously you played triple captain Mo last week. So you've done it basically in the best week possible. So well done. But obviously it looks on paper even better potentially for Salah this week. Regarding assistant manager, though, I do think it's probably worth saving it. I think if you didn't do it in 24, because I don't love the options basically coming up. So in 26, we'll get on to talk about this. I'm not too fussed about the assistant manager options in 26. So it might be a case where I've brought in Emery now. I might just leave it on Emery. Or what I could potentially do is save a lot of money by doing Dango in this week instead of Cliver, which is a big saving. Like 0.8 goes a long way. And that means I can basically afford any manager I want for 26, including the likes of Guardiola or Howe, and I switch Emery on. The thing about Guardiola and Howe, though, is they both rely on results to happen, including Villa's games. So if Villa, I think, win both of their games against Liverpool and Ipswich, I think that does open it potentially up for Howe. But I don't think Villa will probably win against Liverpool. So, tricky one. Guardiola, I believe it needs to be that Newcastle beat Man City. So then you could see City slip down to 5 places by the time we have 26. So, but outside of that, like you could look at in 26, maybe a safe option in Iraola, but he's I think 1.1, so it's not the cheapest. You could look at other options. Potential. Oh, actually, it might be 0.8 Iraola. I take that back. But the other options you're looking at, right? If you're looking at how he's expensive, you look at Arteta against West Ham. He's expensive. So not a lot of going on here that looks great, to be honest. So if I was you, Zach, I would save assistant manager. Just hope that you can use it later on and maybe potentially beyond sort of the blank in 34, save it for then. We also have a question from Akshat. Thanks for your question. He's got Isak, Hall and Robinson on the bench with Wood, Gakpo up front, Palmer, Salah, Rodgers, Clivert and Bumo midfield. Looks good, mate. Looks good, Akshat. Should you use a bench boost or triple captain Salah? Well, the bench is Isak, Hall and Robinson. I mean, if that's your whole team, that is a incredibly strong side. So fair play. I would try and save the bench boost if you can. I think has to be the week for triple captain Salah. Those fixtures, home to Wolves, away to Villa, it's the best week to do it if you've not done it already. So yeah, I don't think we're going to get another double game week for Salah. So this has got to be the week, Akshat. You put it on Mo. And I would definitely probably save the bench boost for 33 because I think a lot of people will be wildcarding in 31 or 32 to set up for a 33 bench boost because we know there's still going to be a decent number of doubles in 33 despite this now fixture taken from 33 into 32 for Newcastle's and Palace's double. So yeah, I would definitely do that, mate. He's not used assistant manager, is what Akshat said. Interesting. Yeah, I would definitely save the assistant manager then as well. Use triple captain this week, I would say. Danny B, our new subscriber. I appreciate that, Danny. Really, really thank you for that. He said he's in the same boat, played triple captain last week, just sold Gakpo to Watkins. Wow. This is the move that I'm considering, Danny. I'm not sure it's worth it, to be honest, but fair play for doing it. Play it your way and all that. But would you use assistant manager on slots now? So he played triple captain last week. So it's the same sort of question, really, as Zach had, which is interesting. I still think this is not a bad week to do assistant manager, but we've got to remember it's a 3 weeks chip, right? It's a 3-week block. I just don't think that the options in 26 and 27 are that interesting. I think they're a bit more interesting potentially in 31 to 32 to 33. Yes, that does mean you can't use your triple captain on Isak or your free hit in 33 or your bench boost in 33, but I just think there are better options for the assistant manager than this week. If you've already got it active, of course, then definitely go for someone like Slot or go for someone like Emery if you've not already got them active on that option. But I just don't think I would activate it now, to be honest, because I think there could just be a better opportunity later on in the season. I can understand the people that did it in 24 because we knew what we were going to get, right? 2 doubles and then the fixture in 26. But I just don't know if I would do it with only 1 double and then 2 single game week fixtures in 25 to 27. I don't think it's worth it. So yeah, I would just try and hold that if you can, but think about when you could use the other chips as well. If you're running out of chips, then potentially if you've got loads of chips to go, then I would probably try and get rid of it. But if you've got not that many left, I'd try and save it. Okay, next question we've got. He said, regarding that question, Danny, for Slot, if you did have triple Liverpool players, obviously you'd have to get Emery, right? My view is because of the table bonus opportunity there, I would go for Emery regardless of if I had triple Liverpool. Obviously, I can't have 4 Liverpool, but in my case, I've already got 3 Liverpool players, so that made it easy for me to go to Emery. But also, I didn't even consider taking out Gakpo to then put in Slot because I just don't think there's enough upside. And like the people that kind of justified Moyes, and it went so well last week, it looks even better for Emery because Villa have got obviously a lot more chance of beating Liverpool than Everton have. And, even a draw for Villa is good enough. So I definitely think there's enough upside there with that great fixture against Ipswich as well. So I would try and do it on Emery, Danny, to be honest, if you can, assistant manager. If you want to play it this week, I would save the chip, though, to be honest. If you've already activated it, obviously you can't unactivate assistant manager. But if you've got, for instance, let's say 2 Liverpool assets and you really, really fancy Slot, then if you feel free, go for it. Next question we've got from Twill Media. Thanks for joining. FPL Hippie. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. As I said, I have put out on my Blue Sky. So yeah, legend Twill Media does some great little images on Blue Sky. Some like great little face morphs. It's fantastic content. So keep it up, mate. Yeah. Feel free to kind of retweet the post I put on Blue Sky if you're on there. If you're following me on X at Roberto Hollis 9, do retweet the tweet where I've got the stream. I really appreciate it, guys. And as I said, like and subscribe for more content. I will be struggling this year, to be honest, because I've got my third year of uni. I'm very busy, but this week, luckily, I was available to do a stream. Danny's then asked, Newcastle double game week, would this affect the bench boost 33? Yes, I think there definitely will be an effect of it because of the fact that potential game with Palace, Danny, was going to be moved into 33, or that was what a lot of people were predicting. I think then it would have been a double game week for Newcastle of Crystal Palace and Aston Villa, I'm pretty sure. But what that now means is that there'll be less doubles in 33, but only by one fixture, right? Because I don't think it'll be a massive, change to put us off bench boosting 33. So I would imagine, yeah, it will affect it, but I wouldn't get too kind of bogged down by that. Now, you have said you might do assistant manager. I don't hate it. I honestly don't. But as I've said earlier, if you hadn't have gone in 24, if it was me, I'd have not done it this week in 25. But it's up to you. I prefer triple captain this week, 100% for 25. He's not activated it. Okay. His current team is Raya, Milenkovic, Gabriel, Trent, Semenyo, Ouattara, Rogers, Palmer, Salah, Isak, Watkins. It's very strong, Danny. He's very strong. We'll have to see on Watkins because, as I said with Watkins, it's just a bit of a mayhem, really, for my team because I love the idea of Watkins if he's going to be playing both games. We don't know that for sure. Like, the comments from Emery are just so divisive. Like, yes, he will be in the squad. That doesn't mean he starts. So I just don't know if it's worth it. Like, Rogers obviously is different, is a big kind of price difference. But Watkins is a lot, right? And I'm not going to be selling Isak. No way, Jose. I'm not going to be selling Chris Wood. So then you're basically looking at, am I going to sell Gakpo? They're obviously both blanking in 29 now. So that's obviously not going to help things out because I'm not looking to free hit in 29. I'm looking to just run through it because I'm looking to free hit probably in 34 or potentially 36 if that becomes a decent double, which is still a chance of that being a few doubles and then some blanks in 37. But who knows? At the moment, though, I am looking to kind of not use it free hit in 29. So I have to think about my transfers carefully. And if I bring in Watkins, it's just another player who does blank in 29. But the upside could be there this week if he plays both games, if he starts both games. And I just don't know that for sure. But yeah, nice team, Danny. I'm going to have to go back to my team because I've still got to make my transfers. Honestly, I might run out of time if I'm not careful. So we've literally got just under an hour now to deadline, 6:30. Don't forget to lock in your teams, all right? Because this is a biggie. This is a big game week, and we don't want to miss out on potential points here. So, okay. As I said, feel free to keep firing questions, and I'll get to them at some point. But I've got to talk through my transfers now because I just don't know what I'm doing. So, I think I'm going to do Gordon to Cliver, but the problem I've got is the following. So my midfield, Man City away for Gordon is a good fixture. Could I regret that transfer because Gordon is looking like he's fine for Man City? Yeah, I could regret it. But if I go for a doubler, then obviously you'd hope that they would outscore Gordon. The issue I've got is I don't love many of the doublers outside of the ones I've got in midfield, right? Salah, Rogers. Why do you need any more than that? Because Villa's midfield is just a minefield. Like Rashford, Asensio, Marlon. Like we need to know if Watkins starts both games to even consider Marlon. Because Marlon, I think, only starts up front if Watkins is out. But we don't know either way. So how can we pick Asensio with any, or Marlon or any of these players with any sort of confidence? I don't think we can. Oh, dear. Sorry, I'm slouching a little bit. It's not good for my back. I don't think we can pick them with any sort of confidence, true confidence, really. So this is my issue. If I wanted to replace Gordon, which I kind of do, I think, I don't know who to get in. So my gut was Clivert, as I said, but let's just say I did do the Clivert move. Look who's first on my bench. Now, this was always going to be my issue. I talked about it on the pod, right? It's not an amazing position to be in, but at the moment, I've got Ahmad first on bench. Now, okay, Man United are pretty poor, but if there's one player who could do well against Tottenham, it's Ahmad. He scored against Man City away. He scored against Liverpool away. He could well score against Tottenham away. And he scored in this game in the Carabao Cup. So yeah, I just feel like I'm going to get punished by that. But also, it's better than some teams I've seen this week. Potentially, some teams have been benching the likes of Mbumo, been benching the likes of Wood, which I think is absolutely murderous stuff. Like, honestly, what are you thinking? He's just scored a hat trick, people. Like, let's not forget. So, I think I'm gonna stick with Ahmad on the bench because I do want to replace Gordon. Right? I could look at this and think, well, Gakpo's the priority. Let's just sell Cody Gakpo. Remember, I have used up one of my free transfers to bring in Emery. So I had 3 free transfers. I've now only got 2 free transfers. And I've got nothing in the bank because I had, I think, 0.3 in the bank, which allowed me to do Moyes to Emery. So what that means is that I need to do downgrades in an ideal world, because if I get to a point by next week, I might want to change Emery. It's possible. It's possible. Sorry, I'm just seeing a message. Sorry, pop up. All this attention today, then I won't even get a text afterwards. Sorry, Bertie. I don't know why that. I don't know what. Anyway, sorry. It's just a message from Tall Media. Anyway, point is, I've lost my thread now. Yeah, I don't even know what I was on about. But the point of it is, I do want Clivert really badly. It was between Clivert and Ouattara. The differential chaser in me and really wants to favour Ouattara, but I think Clivert's got more routes to points. He's got penalties. He's got free corners. I think, and free kicks potentially, and obviously he's more creative as well. He's more creative. So I need to check out these rumors because I've just seen from Danny saying Ahmad could be sick, but he's not 100%. Are these reliable leaks, Danny? Because I need to know. Oh, I need to know what I'm doing for Gakpo, man, because it's so tempting. I've got the exact funds, right? So let me show you what I can basically afford to do. So I have the exact funds, but after making the Emery transfer in for Moyes, as I said, I didn't even consider Slot because I just don't think he's worth it. I prefer my 3 Liverpool, but obviously now Gakpo's kind of injury is worse than feared. But here's the situation. If I did want Clivert, which I kind of do, it would mean I'd have a little bit of money in the bank. But obviously, if I then also think maybe Gakpo to Watkins, look at that. 1.7 in the bank is how much I've got. And would you believe it? Gakpo to Watkins costs me 9.2, right? Okay, and you think, okay, that's all good because Watkins is a little bit cheaper than that. Perfect. Look at that, 0.3 in the bank. So actually, I've actually got 0.3 more than I had prior to those 2 transfers. But, the big but, if the situation happens that I said earlier, where I want to move on Emery, and let's not forget as well, I'll be using all my free transfers. So I'll only have 1 free transfer for 26. There could be an injury. So then I'm probably going to be making at least 1 transfer because I want to change Emery. But I could be in a position where I decide, you know what, Emery is good enough to leave it for Chelsea, because I think there has to be results that happen for me to get the table bonus for Villa. Sorry, my screen I've just noticed has frozen. So let me just sort that out. Sorry, people. Bear with a sec. Not ideal stuff. I'll be back in a sec. What's going on here? It's an unfortunate one as well. Oh dear. Hang on a sec, people. Okay, are we back? I think we're back. Yeah, we are back. Sorry about that, people. Yeah. So what I was saying was, I think most likely I'll switch it from Unai, because there could be a situation we get to 26 and there's no longer the bonus that you get from Unai for the Chelsea game. So I basically want to be in a position where, in an ideal world, I'd be able to get to any manager I want for 26. Now, unfortunately, my screen keeps freezing, and I don't know why this is happening. This is really, really annoying me now. It was working all so good beforehand, and now it's just completely giving up on me. So Sorry, people. Bear with a second while I get this sorted. This has never happened to me before, so it's just choosing to be a bit of a pain. I think my computer is just saying this is too much. Like, it's currently on charge, and it's just like, nope, I want to give up here. Oh dear, this is not good. This is not good. What is going on? Sorry, people. Apologies for this. I will have to try and rechange the camera again, just for a second. Just for a second. Shouldn't take me long. Okay, are we back? I think we're back. Please be back. Right. Okay, we're just going to hope it keeps like that. What I was saying was, I don't think I want to do that move because Watkins is just, will he start both games? I need to know this. I need to know this for sure. And at the moment, I don't feel confident. I don't feel confident about that fact. So, yeah. If you guys could enlighten me on some leak of Watkins starting both games confirmed, then I'll make the transfer. But I don't feel confident enough in it, to be honest. It's scary. It is scary. Okay. Let's think about this. How much do I want to sell Gakpo? The answer from a scale of 1 to 10 is probably about 4. How much do I want to buy Watkins? The answer from a scale of 10 is probably about 4. So this is what I'm getting at, right? I'm not feeling it. Maybe I should see this as a like-for-like change. But it'd be so annoying, wouldn't it, if Watkins didn't start the Ipswich game? Because then you're basically on a level pegging with Gakpo. Like, we could be in a situation where Gakpo comes off the bench against Wolves, gets a few minutes, and starts the Villa game. And then it's the same thing with Watkins. And then, you know, you're taking out someone who blanks for another who blanks, and it's just a waste of a transfer. So I just don't know. I'm very tempted, but obviously the team news is much more positive for Watkins when you compare him to Gakpo, because at least we know Watkins is in the squad 100% according to Emery for Ipswich. We know that's probably unlikely to be the case for Gakpo. And it could be worth a gamble, as you said, Danny. It is a gamble. It's a big gamble move, and I'm a pretty safe manager usually, so I don't know if I'll do it. But let's think about this. How much have I talked about a Bournemouth mid? I talked about it on the Form is Temporary pod with Gary. FPL Have a Beer. If you haven't already listened to it, check it out on Spotify. Form is Temporary podcast. I was talking about it all week. A Bournemouth mid. So I just think in FPL, when you're unsure, when you're a bit perplexed, go with what your gut was. And my gut was always a Bournemouth mid. Now, I did lean towards Kluivert because of that routes to points thing. I know Ouattara's tempting at that price, and it does save me money for that assistant manager if I go Ouattara over Kluivert. But my gut is just telling me Kluivert. And now that he's confirmed he's going to be fine to play, you know, via his own TikTok, it's sensational stuff. So I'm pretty confident I want Kluivert for this week. And I know that people will say, you've got to prioritise Gakpo. But no, I do really think, I think a Bournemouth midfielder against Southampton, I would go as far as to say is essential this week. It's a bold statement, I know, but I think it is. So we're sure about the Kluivert move. Now, obviously, that would mean we'll have one free transfer left for next week. So let's just get the Kluivert transfer locked in, and then we can work out what we're doing with Gakpo. Here we go. Gordon to Kluivert. It's locked in, people. There it is. We've made it our second transfer of the week. And we've got Mr. Legend, that is Father Kluivert. So that's the team at the moment. But you'll see why I had a headache, because I'm still benching Ahmad. Just got to hope he does nothing. So this is the situation, right? If I then get in a forward, then I can't really bench that forward. However, if I choose to keep Gakpo, save a transfer for next week, and let's not forget that transfer of Gordon to Kluivert has freed up enough money for me to probably get a decent enough manager. Like, well, look, I can get any manager I want if I leave that amount of money in the bank. So it leaves me flexibility for the manager. However, if I sell Gakpo for Watkins, we're going to be back down to the same problem of not enough funds for next week's manager. So my temptation is to leave it there with transfers. But I know it's not an ideal position to be in regarding Gakpo. It's tricky. It is tricky. This is the current team. I'll just make sure I've not missed any questions. We've got about, give or take, sort of 45 minutes till deadline. So we've still got time. We don't need to start sweating yet, but I still don't feel great about this game week, I'll be honest. So if Ahmad is sick, that makes my life so much easier, Danny, because I could then potentially do Ahmad, right? Hear me out here. Actually, I can't. I've just remembered I can't. You know what I should have done? I should have kept Gordon because, oh no, I don't see any rumours about Ahmad. I genuinely don't. I need to see something more concrete. A few United channels on YouTube said he's ill. Yeah, but Danny, like, if it's from a journalist, that's where I'll trust it. I need to see it from a journalist. So I could potentially be regretting selling Gordon there instead of selling Ahmad. But I just think I want Ahmad for 29, even if he is ill this week. And this is the thing. If Ahmad is ill, then great. That gives me a good bench option. However, I say a good bench option because I'm less likely to regret it on my bench. But at the same time, you could also be in the position where if Gakpo doesn't play both games, then my substitute will be Castagna against Forest at home, which is not good. It's really not good. So it does make you think, is it worth having bench depth, or is it worth really just going all out for next week in terms of the assistant manager and rolling that third free transfer? So it's a tough one. It really is, I have to say. Old Morris in the chat, thanks for joining us. He's asked, would you -4 Ahmad to anyone? I don't know whether actually, to be fair, whether it was asking me about this because of my situation or whether he's asking about his own team. But I think generally taking out Ahmad when he's got a fixture in 29. I know that United are trash, but they've also got Ipswich in a couple of weeks' time. And then they got Leicester, and we'll probably get rid by Leicester, to be fair. But I still think Ahmad's a good option. But I think he's obviously not been amazing, but neither have Man United. But he's been that one you can rely on. So I think Ahmad's a fine keep. I don't think he's a fire that you necessarily have to put out. And he's got a great fixture this week. I mean, I think he does really well against Spurs. That's my problem with benching him. But as I said earlier, I'd rather have Ahmad on my bench than the likes of Mbeumo and Wood, which is just insane for some teams. So, yeah, I wouldn't do it, to be honest. A -4 to take out someone with a great fixture away to Spurs, I just don't think it's worth it. Cliver, I get he's a really tempting one, but I just think your Gordons, potentially other midfielding options are just much more dispensable than Ahmad. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just a bit biased towards Ahmad at the moment because I've got him. But that's what I think at the moment. Join the club, Danny says. Do Gakpo to Watkins. But Danny, can you seriously tell me that Watkins starts both games? If you can, then fine. I'll do it. I'll join the train. But this is the issue I've got, right? So going back to my problem with Watkins, if I want to change Emery in 26, which I probably do, most likely will, I've got 1.7 at the bank, right? At the bank. I've gone to the bank in town and got my wallet out, and here it says 1.7 million. But if I want a certain Ollie, 0.3 in the bank, right? 0.3 in the bank. So that allows me to get a 1.1 manager. Let's just have a little look at the 1.1 managers for a second, because it could be amazing. Eddie Howe with the table bonus in 26, if everything falls into place for Forest at home, could be fantastic. But I can't get there with 1.1 million. So if we just do this by price for a second and look at managers by price, I mean, Arteta's not as appealing now because of Havertz's injury against West Ham. So maybe I can not get stressed that I can't afford Arteta. Maresca, not looking at him. Slot would have Man City. I'm not really feeling it because you won't get any table bonus. Guardiola. Now, again, that relies on results to happen. Could be great, but I'm not sure I trust Man City enough, to be honest. Because you got to look at these Villa and Everton games, right? They're two teams that are often up for it when they're at home. And we saw with the Merseyside derby, it being the last one at Goodison, there was reasons to go for Moyes. And I think there's the same sort of reasons to go for Emery because of their form this season at home. And Liverpool's recent
not fall off. That's way too extreme, but they had a recent drop points, right? However, let's not forget and not let Manchester City plague our judgment, right? They just lost again against Real Madrid in the Champions League. They are just not going to beat Liverpool. I would be so surprised if they beat Liverpool. So you're literally just holding out for a draw. You're holding out for a 0-0 draw because they're hoping for a clean sheet. Well, I can tell you for a fact, Man City do not do clean sheets. So that's a lot of money, 1.5, to fork out for Guardiola. So fair enough. So the only one I'm thinking I'm going to probably want that's 1.5 is Eddie Howe if things fall into play. But that could be the money. That could be the absolute clincher for like a 70-pointer. Because for me to get Howe, Emery would have had to have done well. And so that could be perfect. And we might not have the table bonus because remember, for Emery to get the table bonus in 26, Villa have to drop down a couple of places or one place or two. So they're not going to do that if they've done well in 25. So basically, if Emery does well, Eddie Howe is on. If Emery doesn't do well, then Emery in 26 is not on. So either of those things could happen, or it could be Emery draws both games, right? Obviously, you get some upside with the table bonus for the Liverpool game, fine, but you could be in a situation where you just don't like any of the options because Howe's not available, and I can't afford Howe with this current Watkins transfer that I could do. Now, Iraola, fair enough. Iraola is 1.1, so he's actually a bit more expensive than I thought. He's not 0.8, but yeah, he's obviously great. Now, I've got Unai Emery, right? And so I had enough to do that transfer with 0.3, just. But this is what I've got to remember. I'm going to have Watkins blanking. So next week, Chelsea, that's an all right fixture for Watkins. But I just don't know because I'm not going to want him by 28 because I'm not planning to free hit in 29. So, or I could leave him up in there until 29. But my point is, I'm not going to be wanting him to make too many transfers. I want to bank transfers to have the option to not free hit in 29. And Watkins is just another transfer waiting to happen. As good as he is this week, and the upside could be there, it is a transfer waiting to happen. And I just think to myself, like, obviously, I could have banked the extra money, the extra 0.8, by going for Dango over Cliver, and that maybe would have solved my manager problem. And then I probably still could have got in Watkins. But my issue is I just prefer Cliver as an option. So I don't think it's worth, for the sake of just money alone and the manager alone, when, who knows, I might be sticking with Emery in 26. This is the thing. I just don't know if I'll need the money yet. I might need the money. I might not need the money. But if I do need the money and I've kind of ruined myself by my transfers not allowing me to get a new manager in, that would be so frustrating. That would be really annoying to kind of end the last week of the Ass Man on a bit of a stinker. So yeah, Iraola is an option 100% against Southampton. Silva for this week, yeah. If he's got a single, he's got Forest, but I don't think I want to go against Emery with a double. And then in 26, you've got Frank against Leicester. Not a bad option, but no table bonus. You've got Glasner. I mean, Fulham. I'm not feeling that, to be honest. And I don't think there'll be table bonus from that. And so then the only other options we're looking at, people, is potentially McKenna against Tottenham, which I don't have confidence in because of how Ipswich are doing at the moment, or Ruud van Nistelrooy, which I have very little confidence in because of how Leicester are doing at the moment. I know Brentford defensively haven't been good, and away from home they haven't been good, but I just don't have any confidence in Leicester at the moment. So Potter away to Arsenal, that's impossible. So it's just the options in 26 are a stinker. And this is why I activated it not with 26 in mind, the Ass Man in 24, but because I've had the two doubles, and that was what we knew at the time. Now, of course, we know there's two potential doubles in 32 and 33. It's annoying, but I'm not actually annoyed because I know I want to use probably bench boost in 33. So what I'm getting at here is, do I love the Watkins move? No. Do I dislike the Watkins move? Not necessarily. Will I need the money? Maybe. Like 0.3 does not let me get to the absolute legend that is Eddie Howe. And obviously, remember, because I've sold Gordon this week. That's part of the reason I thought let's sell Gordon, because if I wanted Howe, I wouldn't have been able to get him with 3 Newcastle. But now I've got 2, so I can get Howe if I want in 26. So yeah, Danny B said still tempted to play assistant manager 60-40. He thinks to do it. Mate, if you got to go with your gut, you're play it your way, as James from Planet FPL would say. At the end of the day, you're the manager, and it's important that you do what you believe in, right? Believe in yourself and try and get that green arrow as much as you can, because we've got to play it our way and do what we can to try and get the points, right? Yeah, that was a bit motivational speech there. But yeah, basically, you've also said you agree if you play Emery, you would have money and transfers to go to Howe. Yeah, I mean, that's great. That's great for you, mate. My problem is I will have that, but not if I want to get Watkins. So, do I want to get Watkins? Potentially not. Potentially not. I just wish Howe was 1.1, because then it would make this all perfect. I could get Watkins in, and then we'd be fine. We'd be absolutely fine. But no, instead he's 1.5. So, I think I'll probably leave Gakpo in. It's going to be so painful, though, isn't it? When Gakpo doesn't play the plum fixture in Wolves, and then potentially gets some minutes against Villa and potentially subbed early or off the bench or something like that. It'll be so frustrating. I know it will. It will. If Villa didn't blank in 29, I'd be going for Watkins a lot more, I think, because chances are he's in the squad. The chances are surely Watkins will start, but I don't have that absolute, concrete, definite kind of confidence in it. So, yeah, tricky one. Very, very tricky one. But we've got 1 free transfer still, 1.7 in the bank. As I said, that Clivert move did free up a lot of money. I didn't necessarily need to free up as much by getting Dango instead. At Clivert's, cheap enough. So, yeah, I think I'm probably going to leave it there, people, in terms of transfers. I know it's tempting to go for Watkins, but how annoying would it be if it's a straight shootout between Watkins and Gakpo in the last game of the game week, and then Watkins ends up getting less anyway, and then it's like, oh, I've just run into Chelsea, Palace, Brentford. Like, at least you could look at that Man City game and go, you know what? I think Gakpo could do something there. Whereas I'm not as confident. I mean, it's a home fixture for Villa. It's not bad, and Rodgers is okay, but I'll probably be selling Rodgers in 26. This is the other thing, right? I've got 1 free transfer if I don't, banked up if I don't make a third transfer. So I'll have 2 frees as things stand if I leave it. If I make another transfer and I want to change Emery, I've got no room for player transfers, and I'm starting to take hits. I do not want to be taking hits. I'm a safe manager. I like to play safe, and I like to not take hits. And so, therefore, the saving I can make of this third transfer this week could absolutely save my bacon. Now, this is the question, and this is why it's exciting, because if we predict Gakpo to not play the Wolves game, right, that's the fixture you wouldn't mind. It's the fixture you'd want him for, but that takes away a lot of Gakpo's appeal, doesn't it? So you're looking at Villa away as the only game he should be fine for. And you compare that to my first bench option, Ahmad. Now, honestly, put it in the chat, people. Probably best to keep transfer then, pal. Yeah, Danny, I think I agree. I just think 1.7 in the bank, I'm cooking for next week. I can do anything I like. I can bring in Guardiola if I lose the plot, or potentially anyone else. Or I can use that money with a second free transfer to replace Rodgers if I wanted to. Or Gakpo if he's still injured. So, yeah, it does give me a flexibility by keeping Gakpo and just taking the L. But this is the question I've got. You have to go catch up next week, Danny. No problem, Danny. Appreciate you joining. Thanks for coming on. For those that are left in the chat, though, put this in the chat. Would you bench Ahmad or potentially bench Gakpo with Villa away? So Ahmad's got Tottenham away. Gakpo's got Villa away. Now, we know who the better footballer is. There's no doubt. There's no doubt of who the better footballer is. It's Gakpo. And it's Liverpool with a better team. But could Villa be okay against Liverpool defensively? Probably not. They've not kept any clean sheets. But Mings looks like, along with Watkins, if he's going to be fit potentially for the Liverpool game, then that's Mings and Disassi as a centre back pairing. Bit better than what they had potentially with Bogard. So could Gakpo get kind of made quiet in that Villa game? Potentially, but it's maybe not unlikely with how Villa have defended. Then you've got Ahmad away Tottenham. It's one of the best fixtures you can have at the moment. Now, I know that they just kept the clean sheet against Brentford, but that was a very kind of one-off, I think, because on the day, just Spence was fantastic. He completely pocketed Brian and Bumo. I don't think that Man United team are going to get pocketed because Spurs are still so light on the ground with their players at the moment. Danso has come in, fair enough, Kevin Danso, and obviously Vicario is rumoured to be back for Tottenham, so that's good for their clean sheet chances. So then you could argue maybe Ahmad, won't actually be someone who isn't worth playing in this team. I really appreciate that, Joseph. Really appreciate it. Thanks for joining. This guy talks sense. Cannot understand why there isn't 1K plus viewers. No, I appreciate it. We just got the 3 today, but it's all good. I'm here for the quality over quantity. It's all good. And I appreciate that. Really, really nice comment, Joseph. It makes me enjoy the things that I do and making these videos. It makes it all worth it. If you haven't already checked out Joseph, do check out our podcast, the Form is Temporary podcast, where we get some of the best members of the FPL community on to preview the game weeks. We just had FPL Have a Beer Gary on for Game Week 25's episode. So there's still time to listen before 6:30. And yeah, we've got, I think, around sort of 600, 700 potentially followers on Spotify. I haven't looked at the numbers recently, but if you did follow us on Spotify, I really would appreciate it. And yeah, I'm not quite sure how I haven't got 1K viewers either, but we keep on grinding. The grind never stops. No, it's all good. I'm joking, of course. So yeah, as I was saying, I think this is the situation I'm in. I saved the transfer, but it's just like if you're in the chat, let me know. I wonder if I can do a poll. Is it possible to do a poll here? I'll have a little look. I've never done this before, so just bear with me as I see whether I can do a poll. Because I'd love to see media assets. Is it in there? Maybe. Bear with a second, people. I'll just see if it's possible. I don't think it is. No problem. Yeah, that's fine. I was going to say, basically, who would you bench between Ahmad and Gakpo with potentially only Villa away? But also, can you imagine if I bench Gakpo with a double and he starts the Wolves game? That would be honestly brutal. So, and I remember I think it was 2 seasons ago, I had Estupinian for the double game week. I think, was he injured? No, I think he was probably fit, but he had 2 incredibly hard fixtures for a defender, right? Because you're like, well, Brighton always concede. And I think they had, what was it? Was it Arsenal away and Newcastle away or something? It was something like that. And in the first game, I think he did get a clean sheet or something. So I was a bit annoyed. I was a bit peeved off. And then what happened in the second game? Arsenal away. I'm thinking, right, this will be fine. Gets a clean sheet, a goal. I think he got like a 19-pointer. And that's on my bench. It was pain when everyone else had started him. So my motto from that day onwards was never bench a double game weeker, however bad the fixtures are, however much you think they might not play. Will Gakpo not play? Potentially, but it would be a bit crazy, I think, to bench Gakpo. I think it's a situation where either I cut my losses with Gakpo and just punt on Watkins, or I just play him and hope for the best and hope he's back for Man City in 26. So my gut is telling me, with what I was saying all about potentially changing Emery, we might not get the bonus against Chelsea. I'm going to want that extra transfer. I could deal with Gakpo in 26 if need be. What will be really annoying, though, is this. If Ahmad hauls against Spurs and then Gakpo gets like a 1-pointer off the bench versus Villa, that would be a very frustrating thing. Because obviously Gakpo can't play any of the 2 games for Ahmad to come off my bench. So it's pretty painful if that happens. But I just think I've got to back the better team with Gakpo, even if he is a doubt. I have been flying Gakpo's flag for a while, and I do really rate him. It's just, it doesn't look good, Brev. It doesn't look good for the Wolves game at all. So I can see why people are tempted. If I didn't want to go for a Watkins, just hear me out here. We've got about just under half an hour to the deadline, so make sure you guys lock your transfers in. Let me know if you've still got any more questions, captaincy, assistant manager chips, triple captaincy, anything like that. If I did want to get in someone that wasn't doubling, though, I could do Gakpo potentially to Visser. But as I was saying earlier with Brentford, right? They weren't great against Spurs. And I know their fixtures in the next 3 are great against West Ham, Leicester, Everton. But I don't know. I wasn't that enthralled by them. This is okay, but when you could be chasing a doubler in Watkins or potentially sticking with a doubler in Gakpo, is it worth it? Is it worth the move? It's not terrible, don't get me wrong. Mateta's a tempting one, but again, the difference between Wissa is at least he'll play in 29. Mateta won't. So I don't think it's worth chasing players now that don't play in 29 unless they've got a double, right? Unless they've got a double, because you can get the points back this week and then you can just sell them before 29. There's plenty of time for that. But what I'm getting at is if I brought in Mateta, sure, he could do okay against Everton, but will he pay it back? That potential fixture I'm going to lose from him in 29? I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. So I don't love it. So at least we can know that with going for Watkins, if he is fit, we'll get more fixtures than potentially for Gakpo. But we don't know he's fit. So I really wish like either Ouattara, because he's got obviously the brilliant fixture against Southampton, either Ouattara was a forward, but he's not, or we had something like a good Liverpool forward we could pick from to replace Gakpo. The problem is the options are Darwin, who will he even start both games? Probably will start the first game against Wolves, maybe. But you could see a front three of Diaz, Jota, and Salah. Potentially. You could. So it's hard. It's hard to know who to get in for Gakpo. I just think maybe information could be the answer here. So information and money is what I've got if I roll that last transfer. But what I won't have, obviously, is an ideal triple Liverpool lineup. That was the other point I was going to make. If I bring in Watkins, as much as it's good I get another doubler in, I'm only going to have 2 Liverpool. And I think you need triple Liverpool this week. I think that's pretty much essential. Whether it is 2 Liverpool and slot or 3 Liverpool, which I don't want to go for slot, so it has to be 3 Liverpool. And I just think if Gakpo plays, I will just be so annoyed. It is a good sort of benching decision between him, Gakpo, and Ahmad, because I've said all week I love to start Ahmad, but you can't bench a doubler. You just can't. So this is why I think maybe I should have just kept Gordon in and maybe played Ahmad over Gordon and then sold Gakpo. But the thing with that is I was so keen on Cliver that I just couldn't let him go. So I think I've made the right move there. And I've just got to hope Ahmad stays quiet. Like and subscribe. I appreciate that, Lewis. Really do. Thank you, mate. Thanks for tuning in. I know that you've got a big time difference where you are. So much appreciate you tuning in. Good morning to you too. It's currently 6:06 p.m. here in England. But thanks for tuning in. He's got Sarr. His question is, should he start him or sell? Got 0.6 in the bank. Options is Chelsea or Bournemouth. Maybe Marlon or Asensio. Tielemans, Ramsey. Any shout? 6.2 million. Or roll the transfer. Okay, let me have a little look at some options for you, Lewis. He's got Rodgers already. Okay, because that would have been the player I would have said absolutely prioritise getting. Because although they will blank Villa, I think he's the only Villa asset you can be confident in at the moment to start both games. In terms of those options, then Sarr, I think. I mean, you could keep Sarr. You could keep Sarr, Lewis, because he's been confirmed fit for this game. Everton at home is not bad, but I can understand if you had Sarr for a while, he's been very frustrating. As a former Watford player and as a Watford fan myself, I thought he would do better over this run, I'll be honest, but he's been underwhelming. So I understand wanting to let go of him. I would probably sell him, to be fair. So he's got 0.6 in the bank. So let me just quickly check. It depends, obviously, if you've got any value tied up in Sarr. But at the moment, Sarr is 5.6. Yeah, so yeah, as you said, 6.2 is what you've got to play with. So in terms of players around that price point. Let me just have a little look for you, Lewis. So 6.2 million. Yeah, not a lot of options, I'll be honest. We're going into scary territory. I would not go for Bailey at all because thank you for that, Lewis. Yeah. I would not go for Bailey because I don't think he will start. Genuinely, I think there's more chance of someone like a Jacob Ramsey getting minutes, potentially even a Marlon if Watkins is out. I just don't think Bailey's high on the kind of Aston Villa pecking order. Then you're looking at the rest of the options. McAllister at 6.2. Now, that's the other thing I was thinking about. Before I ended up doing that Clivert move, I was very tempted by Szoboszlai. Because if I'd have sold Gakpo for a forward, let's say it was Wissa, for instance, I could have done then Szoboszlai in for Gordon. But as I've said all week, I was absolutely beating the Clivert drum. I had to go for Bournemouth because I genuinely think there's a chance those Liverpool midfielders and those Villa midfielders with the double get outscored by the one amazing pick that does well for Bournemouth against Southampton. Like, that's a sort of game where you're like, the singlers could easily outscore the doublers because Southampton is basically as good as a double game week. Sorry, Southampton fans, but it is like the way they've been defending this season. So, with that in mind, I wouldn't go for McAllister. I know he scored against Everton, but I don't think he's going to be likely getting too many returns. Other options you've got then, Lewis, it's slim pickings, isn't it? Because if you're not going to get a Clivert, I don't know who you would get. Like, Asensio is not going to start enough games. Semenyo is another option, is a bit lower owned than Clivert. Also, the cheapest, of course, is Ouattara at 5.1. You like Clivert? Yeah, fair enough. You've got Sancho on your mind. Interesting. I would ignore Sancho absolutely. Neto for Chelsea. No, I wouldn't go for him either. You can't do another Liverpool. Oh, you've already got 3. Fair play. Okay, in that case, yeah, I would definitely be bringing in another Bournemouth. Just double up on them because you've already got Clivert. Go for Dango, genuinely, because I just don't rate any of the Villa midfielders. You've already got Rodgers. That's what I would do, mate. Genuinely, I think Nkunku could be okay, but it's a bit risky. Ahmad, it's not the best of weeks to bring him in, maybe. I don't know, especially if these ill rumours are true. And then the rest of them are just not looking too promising. Ramsey's an interesting differential option, but you've already got Rodgers. I wouldn't necessarily want to double up on those two. So, yeah, I think it makes sense to go for Dango or Semenyo, whichever one you prefer, really. Because that fixture for Bournemouth is so good. Okay, so I think that is where our team is ready and locked in pretty much. The stress, my brain, honestly, my brain is like mush at this point. Like, it's just incredible how much this game week has just gone crazy. The reason it's gone crazy is because of the team news and the ambiguity of all the team news. I've just got to pray that Timber starts the Leicester game. I've got to pray that Gakpo starts both games. I know he probably won't. So then you're just going to get one game out of him. But is it really worth taking out Gakpo? Like, I wouldn't want to put in Slot, so that rules that out. Watkins is the one staring at me saying, why aren't you buying me? It's just that assistant manager. Am I placing too much on assistant manager for 26? I probably am. Gianni's locked it in. I think Gianni's locked in. Gakpo to Emery. Gakpo to Emery? No, sorry. Gakpo to Watkins. Oh, it's tricky, man. It's really tricky. I don't know. Oh, the thing is, I kind of wish I had a bad striker at the moment because if I did, like a Pedro or a Jackson who's out for the kind of next few weeks, it'd be such an easy move to go to Watkins. But when Gakpo's a potential could play, might not play, it's just hard to know if it's worth it. Oh man. If I knew that Gakpo was out 100%, I'd make the move now, but we don't know that. We just don't know that. Are there any team leaks? Wow, people are taking -8s. I'm seeing on the timeline. This is incredible. Wow, FPL fella has done Moyes to Slot and sold Gakpo. Wow, and brought in Watkins. People are bringing in Watkins, man. That's crazy. Some people are going to have double Liverpool with no third option. But this is the thing I don't like about Watkins in for Gakpo is I won't have 3 Liverpool. I don't like that. I guess this is why some people are taking -8 to get Slot in, because it allows you to get Watkins and have Slot for third Liverpool. But I'm not changing Emery. No chance. Emery's my guy. It will cost me another transfer. Like there's no way. There's absolutely no way. Oh man. It's really hard. It's really, really hard. I'm seeing hits flying around. Like -4s, -8s. There could be such a benefit from my team if I don't take a hit. But it's not easy. It's not easy to do. I so wish I had triple Liverpool, man. I really do wish I had triple Liverpool. Sorry, bear with people. Oh, is it worth the Watkins transfer? Is it worth it? I got 10 minutes. Oh no, not 10 minutes. 15 minutes left. I don't know. I just don't know. Like, do I just stick with Emery and just be done with it? Stick with it. Oh, it's one of those moves, right? Where Gakpo's Watkins on paper looks so logical, but it could just backfire. Like, it could be a really annoying swing, and I'll just think, why did I not just save the transfer and get more info? So the cautious person in me, the cautious FPL manager in me just says, just be patient, mate. Gakpo might not play either game, but then you get Ahmad for a great fixture against Spurs. So, yeah, tough one. It is a very tough one. But my gut is telling me I'm not going to sell Gakpo. That is what my gut has told me all day. And so if I sell him now, it'll be a bit of a U-turn, to be honest. But it's just how much do I want Watkins? Oh man, I don't know. I really don't know, and I wish I knew a way of finding out if Watkins is going to play, but there's no way of finding out. Literally everyone is getting Watkins in now. This is the thing. This is why I'm worried. Am I just gonna completely fall behind without Watkins? I'm starting to get FOMO. I can't lie. I think a lot of people are doing it if it's for free, and I've got the luxury of being able to do it for free because I had those free transfers. So it's very interesting. It is very, very interesting. You know, I was thinking about chip strategy as well. I said earlier I'd probably be looking to do run through 29, then triple captain 30 for free, bench boost triple captain 32, bench boost 33, wildcard 34. Sorry, I was going to wildcard in 32 or 31, I should say. But you could do it where you don't wildcard in 31, you bench boost in 33 just with 3 transfers up until now. You get your bench boost ready. Obviously, triple captain 20 in 32. Then you wildcard in 34 in a blank, which seems weird, but then you could then potentially free hit in 36 if there's doublers and use the double game week free hit. Oh, there's so many ways to navigate this. My head hurts. My head hurts. Why has there got to be so many double game week announcements so late, man? Oh, like the last Friday was chaos enough. I had a double game week 24, or the Friday before, I should say. Now it's happened again with this Newcastle Palace double, and it's changing our chip strategy so much. It's a nightmare. It's a genuine nightmare. Oh, can we just get news about Gakpo, man? Please. Have I lost my mind? Is Isak to Watkins better than Gakpo to Watkins? You know when it's one of those weeks where like everything seems right and everything seems wrong at the same time? It's one of those weeks. So it's such a pain in the head. Oh, man. Do I sell Ahmad? Do I sell Ahmad for a Liverpool midfielder? Because this is the thing, right? I could do something very risky and do Ahmad to Szoboszlai. Oh, no, I can't do that because I've got 3 Liverpool. This is the thing. If I then had to take out Gakpo, it would be a -4. So, yeah, I basically, by getting Kluivert in for Gordon, maybe I should have just done Gordon to Szoboszlai, but nah. I've always banged the drum for a Southampton mid. Doublers are not always the answer, you know. They're not always the answer. They're good, don't get me wrong, but they're not always the answer. Oh, I think I'm going to leave it at that, people. I think I have to leave it at that because I just feel like if I make another transfer, I'm probably going to regret it. 1.7 in the bank. Oh, man. By the way, shout out to Giselle Sophia Clivert, little baby come into the world. Fantastic stuff. Fair play though. I was wrong about the due date. I thought that because basically the fiance said I think it was about a month ago, around about sort of 28th, 29th of January. And the babe was due the 10th of February, and obviously it's the 14th today, so it's not far off the due date. So fair enough. I got that wrong. Andy Martin, fair enough, mate. You covered that, like your life depended on it. So fair enough. But good news is Clive will play this week. I just think it's exciting because Unai Emery, so many people have done Gakpo to slot. It's like double game week 24 all over again. So again, just as with Moyes, Unai is going to be differential, and I love it. I love it. Gordon to Clivert makes so much sense. But does it make very little sense to not have triple Liverpool? This is why I don't want to take out Gakpo. Please. I don't think I see a single person have Gakpo starting in their team or even in their team, let alone starting. Okay, I've seen one team. Oh, that's interesting. Wow, that is interesting. So Corf FPL, shout out to you, mate, has sold Isak or Watkins and started Gakpo. That is interesting. Any more last minute questions, people? Let me know. Do let me know because there's not long till the deadline now, just over 10 minutes. So it is very much squeaky bum time at the moment. 5 people watching in the chat. Do smash a like on it. Subscribe. As I said, I've got a busy few months these next few because I'm in my final year at uni, 3rd year. So a lot is going on. But thanks for those that have joined today. It's been stressful, but it's also been fun. So thank you for joining. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there, people. I think I'm going to leave it there because I just think the more I tinker with this, the more I think about it, the more I might just overcomplicate things. Watkins is tempting. It really is. But, we've got 10 minutes to go before deadline. I hope you've all made your transfers by now. I think I have. I think I'm going to roll my other transfer. Just hope and pray to the football gods. Look, let's not forget, right, what Arnie Slot said. He said, a little doubt. A little doubt. Now, admittedly, in the kind of journey of the day, it has come out as more serious because then he wasn't in training. But initially, you wouldn't have thought if it was that bad that he would forget to mention it in team news. And then he gets brought up, he remembers, and like, oh, sorry, yes, of course, a little doubt. Like, maybe this is prime Slot trolling and he's not the reliable manager we thought he was. It's potentially what's happening. He's maybe turning into Eddie Howe or Arteta at this point, or Guardiola. Who knows? But I need to know about Watkins. Does he start? Because the thing is, if I do Watkins, right? If I do Watkins, I'm not selling Isak. No chance. I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. But Man City away, he could score 2 goals, and then people that have taken him out. Oh man. I genuinely, all week I was saying doing the Watkins move in for Isak is insanity. And I agree it kind of is crazy because you've got so much value tied up in Isak. No, Isak's not going anywhere. Don't even entertain the thought of it. He's got value in my team. He's a great asset. He'll double in 33. He can just stay there. I'm not free hitting in 29. Why would I sell him? He scores against Forest, potentially away to Liverpool's tough, but then West Ham he will score. It's just not worth it. It's just Watkins in for the double and then he's back out again, honestly. So I just don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it. Now, Gakpo to Vissa, that's a bit more interesting because he plays in 29 and the fixtures are pretty good actually for the next 3 for Brentford. But it's so annoying if it turns out that Gakpo has the exact same number of fixtures. Like, yeah, it could be 1 fixture for 1 fixture, but it also could be 2 fixtures for Gakpo and I take him down to Wissa and then I get 1 less fixture. That would be so frustrating. So 8 minutes to deadline. I think we're going to wrap it up there, people. I don't want to do something I'm going to regret later on. As crazy as it sounds, I'm going to leave Gakpo in and just hope. Oh, this is such a terrible game. It's a fantastic game, but it's a terrible game at the same time. The things this game does to us is insane. But I think we're going to leave it there, people. So thanks so much for those that have tuned in to the stream. I really do appreciate it. It's been stressful, but it's been good fun. And I have to say, this is. I mean, I've just seen Trophies reposted the live link, so I'm tempted to go on a little bit further. If people are watching, but it's 10 minutes to go. It's less than 10 minutes to go. Wait, what? There's no way. Hang on. So I've just seen Baker from Above Average FPL just said apparently Clivert's baby was born on Monday. After all of that drama, he was born on Monday. There's no way. Oh, I don't believe it. The prime troll that is Clivert was making out like, oh yeah, I'll manage to make it as though it's going to be a difficult one. He had no worries. He had absolutely no worries. It was a whole 4 days ago. Wow, fair play. No, he does have worries. He's got a child to look after. But what I'm saying is, he can manage the sleep routine. He can manage it. Oh, there's so many people that have not sold that have sold Gakpo. It's just painful. It's just genuinely painful. I just feel like when the whole community goes against you here and sells Gakpo, it's hard. It's very, very hard. We just don't know the extent of Gakpo's injury. That's the problem. But so many people are making that transfer. It's insanity. It is insanity. Oh, Arnie Slot's been charged for conduct in the Merseyside derby, and too right. He was getting at the ref, wasn't he? I just don't see many people keep. There's a few teams keeping Gakpo, but there's very few. I have to say, there's very few teams keeping Gakpo. It's just going to be like, did you keep Gakpo or did you not? That's basically the battle of this game week. Oh, it's just dread, absolute dread at the moment. I have to think logically. I have to think about this and do what needs to be done. The people without Gakpo have had such an easy afternoon. Honestly, they've had such an easy afternoon. I just don't think Gakpo will play Sunday. I don't think he will play Sunday, and so there is room to move him out. There is room to move him out. What do we think, people? The people in the chat, is anyone left? Should I make this transfer last minute? No, I don't think I should. You know what? If he gets one game, he gets one game. He could, let's imagine, just try and basically make this happen. Let's sort of, what's the word? Embrace the chaos. All right. Let's conjure it up into reality. Gakpo scores a hat trick away to Aston Villa and outscores Watkins with a double. The limbs. The absolute limbs if that happened. So, yeah, he won't have a blank game week, put it this way, for Gakpo, with no fixtures. But he might have a single, which is frustrating. But Watkins will probably get minutes in both games. But he's also another transfer to happen, and it leaves me, don't stress about assistant manager next week. It doesn't have to be an issue, but I want to nail that third assistant manager, and I won't be able to do that if I make the transfer. And who knows? I might want to sell Rodgers as well. Like if Rodgers has a stinker and gets booked in both games, he'll be out of the Chelsea game. So, there's a potential that I'll want 2 free transfers next week. So it sounds insane, but I'm leaving my team there. We're locked in, baby. 3 minutes to go. Lock in your teams. That's pretty much it now. We have got no more time left. So I've got to say, big thank you to everyone that joined the chat. Make sure you do retweet and reshare even after the deadline. I really would appreciate you guys putting it out on socials, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, all those, TikTok. Thanks for those that have joined, the likes of FPL Maggot, Zach, Akshat, Danny, Twirl Media, FPL Hippie, Danny, I said him, Ol Morris, Lewis Vanilla, Yosef, with a really lovely comment about the 1K viewers. Thanks everyone that's come on. I really have appreciated your company. Happy Valentine's Day for those that celebrate it. This is Game Week 25, locked in. Henderson, Timber, Trent, Gabriel, Palmer, Rogers, Salah, captain, Cliver, the new addition, Isak, Gakpo, Wood, Hall on the bench, third, Castagna, Ahmad, Bender, and then assistant manager transferred, Moyes to Emery. Let's go, Emery. Good evening, good night, and let's try and get a green arrow in double game week 25. Bye-bye, everybody.